What's up, guys? As you can probably already figure out from the title of this video, I'm gonna be doing another tutorial on how to change your voices and your hit fonts in Aion. I'm gonna be explaining this tutorial for Aion Europe originally, but I assume it can work perfectly fine for Russian Aion or NA Aion. It's just gonna be the folder that your game uses. I'm gonna guess it's ENU for NA, and for the Russian client I actually have no idea. My apologies about that. But I'm pretty sure you can figure it out yourself, if you of course want to do that on Russian servers or whatever. But my tutorial is primarily going to focus on Europe servers. So we're going to get started. By the way, we're going to locate. Let me drag this over here. We're going to locate the Gameforge folder, which is games, GRB, Aion, downloads. The folder we're going to be looking at for pretty much everything is the ENG folder. You can find that in download/L10N. So if you open this, you're gonna normally have 3 folders and this ENG.pack file. We're gonna go over the voices first. So you have your sounds folder. These are your EU voices, so to speak. But I have this zip file right over here. I'm gonna put a download link in the description to this one. I've been linking this on my stream many times as well, but people seem to have issues making it work. So if you open it up, it's pretty much only gonna have a sounds folder in it. We're gonna go ahead and extract that real quick. Okay, there we go. So now we have pretty much a replica of the sounds folder. Now, the thing I want to do is, I don't recommend that you delete your Europe voices, because this folder is 506 megabytes big. So what I like to do is I just rename it to something the game won't actually read, because if you delete it and you repair your client, you're gonna have to re-download this 500 megabytes every time. For some people that might not matter or something, but to me it does, so I'm gonna show you the way I do this. So this is your EU sounds folder. You want to go ahead and right click it, rename this folder, and you can rename it to pretty much anything you want. I just rename it to sounds EU. And I press enter. So if you run your game with Aion Rainmeter or a batch file, which you obviously have to do, you cannot run your game through the official launcher of the game. Because if you do that, it's just gonna reinstall a sounds folder and it's gonna use the EU voices. This is the mistake that a lot of people are making, and that a lot of people were still making after my 4.5 video. I mentioned clearly that you need to run your game with Aion Rainmeter or a batch file. So if we were to go and drag this folder in now, this is the one we extracted from the Japanese voices zip. I'm gonna go ahead and show you a video right now with this built in my folder, how your voices are gonna sound. Alright, so that's obviously Japanese voices. Every NPC up to 4.8 is also going to talk Japanese, most likely. However, the Japanese voice pack is only up until 4.8, so I don't know how many new things are actually added in 4.9 from NPCs or whatever, but those are most likely still going to be speaking English, or not going to be speaking at all. But that doesn't really matter, because you have your awesome Japanese combat voices. So as for the Korean ones, you actually don't need the download for it. We're gonna go ahead and delete the Japanese ones now. So you pretty much have your customized folder again right now. This is your EU voices that are not obviously gonna be read because you renamed it. You can rename it to anything. I'm gonna repeat that. You can rename it to anything you want. You don't have to actually copy me. Just be sure that it's not actually named sounds, because obviously your game is going to read it like that. So for the Korean voices, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one open. I'm gonna open the Aion folder again, but this time you're gonna go 2 folders back. You just have to be in your download folder. This is the path. It's going to be Gameforge Live Games GBR_ENG Aion download. This is the folder that you need to be in, because here you have your bins for 32 and 64-bit, but you also have pretty much every folder sitting in here, like the L10 and all that shit. And you have a sounds folder in here as well, as you can see. Well, this sounds folder is actually Korean voices, and it's updated up until the same point as our EU client is. So these are 4.9 Korean voices. You're just pretty much gonna Control-C or simply just copy. You don't have to delete it or anything. Control-V or paste. Yes. As you can see, this one is a lot larger than the Japanese one, because the Japanese one, as I said, it's only up to a certain patch. I'm not even sure if it's 4.8. It might actually be 4.7, but I'm not too sure about that. So after we have just copied this folder, pretty much one folder up, you copied it from the sounds folder right into your ENG folder, which is in the L10N folder. So now it's gonna look like this again, with a pretty standard sounds folder, and you have your backup of your EU folder. So now I'm gonna be showing you guys a video again how your game is gonna sound with this voice pack. There you have it, Korean voices. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this one again right now. So that's pretty much it for the voices. If you want to revert the changes, pretty much you just do what I just did. You delete the folder that you had customized, and you just rename your EU folder back to sounds. Now your game is back to default. So for the textures, it's obviously going to be in the textures folder that you're going to be doing the hit fonts. I'm going to do the Japanese hit font first, because that obviously requires a few more steps than the Korean ones again. So you're going to go into the textures folder, and what you see here is the loading folder and a textures.pack. The first thing that you want to do, you can't actually rename this textures.pack file, but you're going to want to back it up or simply delete it. That's up to you. If you delete it, you have to repair your client with the Gameforge launcher to get it back. So I like to back it up. I'm just going to drag it on my desktop for now. There we go, just as long as it's not in the folder. So you pretty much only have the loading folder in here right now. For the Japanese hit fonts, there's actually an additional step required compared to the Korean ones. There is this folder named UI. If I'm going to open this folder, it only has one file in it called hitnumbers.pack. These are actually the Japanese hit fonts. I'm going to upload this folder myself to wherever I can upload it to, and I will give you guys the download link to that, so you can download it directly from me instead of downloading from some fishy server or whatever. I believe Aion Rainmeter also has this Japanese hit font. That's also a legit source to download it from. So what you want to do is drag this entire folder into the textures folder. So now instead of a textures.pack, you have a UI folder. I'm going to show you guys a screenshot now of how your critical hit font will look like with both of these folders in your textures folder. There we go, those are the Japanese ones, right? It's gonna work for critical hit, block, evade. I believe it also had parry right now, but I believe parry is also shown as blocks on the Japanese one, which doesn't really bother me, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it won't bother you guys as well. So we're just gonna drag this out again. So, losing my train of thoughts here. The Korean ones, right? The Korean ones are probably the ones everyone wants, because it's signs instead of an actual text or whatever. So, the thing you're looking at right now, only the loading folder in your textures, it's pretty much done. That's all you need for Korean hit fonts. You don't need to do anything extra, because you removed the textures.pack from this folder, it's actually automatically gonna use the default Korean one, because the game obviously default is in Korean. All these extra folders are just our language folders. If you remove the textures.pack, I recommend you to back it up, like I said before, but you can delete it or whatever if you don't want the originals back anytime soon. But if you run your game like this, again with Aion Rainmeter or with a batch file, never through the official launcher, it's gonna look like this. And this is pretty much how I am doing it at the moment. So your textures.pack, you just back that up or delete it. I'm just gonna delete it, whatever, because hitfont modification and voice modification are both allowed according to Gameforge. However, I also wanted to show the innate data pack in this tutorial and how to change your game font. But I have actually been in contact with a Gameforge GM, and changing the game's font itself is apparently a bannable offense, so I won't be going into detail on how to do that, or show you guys for that matter. And for the innate data pack, I myself don't use that anymore, but there's plenty of tutorials on how to do that. It's just, well, apparently there's a lack of tutorials on how to do the voices and the hit fonts and whatever. But what I showed you pretty much is how to change everything. I'm gonna put those two download links to the Japanese voices and the Japanese crit font in the description of this video. And the Korean ones, well, I just pretty much explained everything. You don't need any downloads for that. So thank you for watching this tutorial, guys. I hope it's gonna help everyone this time. You can still PM me on my Facebook page if you still run into any trouble, and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. But keep in mind, I'm not gonna be instantly replying to your messages if I'm getting an abundance of them. So yeah, I hope this was helpful again, and I will see you guys on Twitch. Peace out.